Welcome, welcome, welcome. The fellowship is all here and ready for all giving and offers. All right, I don't do that too well. It's been a long time since I've been to church, and if my pastor is listening, I apologize. I will fix that sometime soon. So, welcome to another episode of Fantasy for Breakfast, Week 2, Semana. I think that's how you say it in Spanish. I don't know. I took French, so don't even know how to speak that. Anyway, we're here to go ahead and help you out with your DFS lineups this week, trying to line those pockets with some paper, like Paperboy. If you guys ever listened or watched the show Atlanta, Paperboy, it's my new favorite rapper. So it goes,
thank you.
Paperboy, Dylon, 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 and Dylon, because Dylon still spits fire. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and mix up into this and get you guys your picks. But just for the sake of the matter, we love to do it. We were already late, but you're going to have to give us another 30 seconds. Apparently that was on loop, so you had to give us 34 seconds. So anyway, like I said, we're here to go ahead and line those packets and everything. Let's go ahead and kick it off. You guys know who I am, Joe Harris, your host, the real Joe Harris. If you want to look for me on Twitter, which that name's changing soon, and I'll talk about that here soon. I heard something from Andy yesterday, who won't be joining us, about a name that Kai had for me that I think is perfect. So that will be my Twitter handle here shortly. But let's go ahead and start off with my boy Warson Sense. I don't even know how. Actually, that kind of sounds funny due to what we're doing here. Warson Sense. Go ahead and say what's up to everybody. Tell everybody how you been. How'd this week go for you?
What's up? Week was just great, fabulous. Warson Sense. That's also my DJ name. Catch me in the club soon.
All right, and El Jefe, man, how's your week been? Tell everybody what's up, how everything has been going for you.
Work's been pretty heavy, so that was not awesome. It was a little bit better than my lineup last week, though. We're looking to change that up this week.
Great garbage.
Get rid of some zeros.
Shit, go ahead. Replace those zeros with heroes, boy. I feel that, man.
Need to replace the zeros in my bank account too.
Hey, and that's why we're here. So maybe go ahead and take some lineup advice from us, even though you're included. So yeah. So honestly, if I can get this Twitter handle, I'm going for it. And it's a little bit of a mix of what I was doing with what Kai said, which he's the wordplay guy. Obviously got Warson Sense over here. So I heard that he made a comment, which he's not the only one. I couldn't tell you how many text messages I got last week telling me, like, oh, boy, you look exactly like Jacoby Brissett. This, that, and the other. So, I'm embracing it now. So I initially came up with Jacoby Brissett, but I heard that you said you told Andy Jacoby Harris set. So I'm going to combine those and just be Jacoby Harrisette. I mean, that's got to gain some type of traction on Twitter, man. I'm telling you.
Look, you put a helmet on, you wouldn't be able to tell you guys apart, man.
Hey, and if my pops is listening,
for the record, Joe, real quick, I don't think all of you guys look alike. Okay.
just you and Jacoby, man.
Just me and Jacoby. I honestly couldn't tell you like how many times I've heard it. It's happened at work. The guy in production I had never met before goes walking through the break room and double takes. And I could have swore I owed him money or something. Because, hey, anybody ever told you look like Jacoby? You look just like Jacoby. And I'm getting text messages from my friend Andrea and everyone else. Like, it's been all week. So I'm embracing it. I'm going to try to see if I can get any VIP rooms out in Cleveland this year. See how that works out for me. But anyway, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. We'll go through our lineups, but before we do that, I want to show off this shirt, and I want to go ahead and go over our picks from last week. So right there, boys, what do you guys know about that? Well, that's the best group and the best wrestler ever to be in the squared circle. This is probably my new favorite shirt. I'm gonna wear this for the rest of the week. So so when you see me out, don't be surprised when you see that T-shirt. Anyway,
and
so
it stinks.
yeah, it might stink a little bit. Get some underarm smells and stuff like that. But yeah, so our core four. Geez, I drew a blank there for a second. Our core four from last week went really well for some of us. Went really poopy for the other of us. So we had a close to bottom finish and a close to top finish. So just go ahead and rank those out. Jeff, looks like you came in. I'm gonna have to slide this over a little bit here so I can get these scores. It looks like Jeff, you came in at the lowest with 41.3. That lineup for you just did not seem to click, so to say. So I think Winston had a pretty decent game, and so did McCaffrey. But unfortunately, you didn't get much love from Devontae Smith or Kyle Pitts last week. But those aren't bad picks this week, to be honest with you. So maybe bring those back and see what you can do with them. But and then we have Andy. Andy came in at 43.7. His lineup really didn't do him any justice. He had Trey Lance, which with that weather, that game was a really stink for everybody. Derrick Henry, gotta give credit to the Giants, man. The Giants really locked him up. They'll be one of my DFS defense picks this week by far because they helped me win some money last week. So I'll be riding with them. He did have Marquise Brown too. I don't think he did much. And then Mark Andrews somehow, I guess I won't call it locked up. He still scored like 10 points or something, but Sauce Gardner really kept him in check. So Andy did not get off to a good start. Kai's team actually played really well. Matt Ryan, Antonio Gibson, Michael Pittman, and Mark Andrews. Once again, it's that Mark Andrews pick that probably hurt a little bit. But even then, his score was still nice with those other three players. He came out with 80.6 on his core four. And then my lineup smashed for the most part, except for Dalvin Cook. So I had Jalen Hurts, Dalvin Cook, Michael Pittman, and Travis Kelce. Like I say all the time, I don't normally spend up on that tight end position, but I really liked it the first week of the season. And I was able to spend down in the other areas. I could have had a real opportunity to make a lot more money than I did had Dalvin Cook actually shown up. So first week of the season, I just like to go ahead and play it out here. Champ is here. That's right. The champ is here, boys. That's me. I am your wiener this week. So let's go ahead and see how we can go ahead and put these lineups together for this upcoming week and see what we can do to get people to listen to us, because if you guys would have listened to me last week, you would have made money. So
if they would have listened to Jeff, they would have lost money.
Yeah. So, hey, pick your poison. Pick your poison. So let's go ahead and get started into things. Ooh, I'm gonna have to open up my phone. We have Andy's picks. I'll start with you guys while I get that picked up. So let's go ahead and roll off with quarterback here. Warson, since I'm pretty sure I know which way we're going here, so go ahead and let us know who your quarterback is this week.
So for $5,800, I'm going with Carson Wentz. They are playing the Lions, and the Lions tend to suck. And Carson Wentz had one of his best games of all time, except for when he won the Super Bowl from the sideline. Anyway, don't like the dude. But I like his potential in today's matchup against the Detroit Lions.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's one of those lineups you want to attack. I mean, and you know what? What I like the most about the Lions is as bad as their defense is, their offense is actually improving. So most of their games are going to have an opportunity for a shootout as long as you got somebody on the other side of the ball who can shoot it out, which in this case could be Carson Wentz. You know, you might throw some picks and everything, but he's going to take his shots. So I don't hate that pick at all, especially if you want to save the money. I think you said he was, what, 58?
Yep.
Yeah, 5,800. That's a steal. That's letting you get a lot of picks elsewhere. So definitely a solid pick. El Jefe, who you riding with quarterback this week?
Look, man, I gotta go with Lamar Jackson at 7,400. This should be a good game at home against the Dolphins. He's going to feed Andrews, so Andrews is going to get his catches, and everyone knows that Andrews, he can find the end zone multiple times if he is fed the way that I think he's going to get fed today. Lamar didn't do a lot last week on the ground, and I think Miami is going to force his hand a little bit in that direction. So I feel like Lamar could put up the same number of yards, a little over 200. Could get a couple touchdowns, but I think he has a chance to approach that 100-yard mark on the ground. And we know if he's running the ball in the red zone, he has a good chance of getting in the end zone. 7,400, he's not the top pick, but if this game plays out the way that I think it's going to play out, he could score a lot of points. So I'm going with Lamar. I don't think I went with him at all last year, but I got to turn this around. So I'm going to ride Lamar this week.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
That backfield's not full strength too. So I mean, he's going to have to run.
Yeah, and I think you kind of touched on it a little bit with Miami. Miami probably will force his hand a little bit. Their pass rush is decent. If they can get in that backfield early, it will push him out of that pocket, which will lead to more rush attempts for him. I like it, and that was initially my quarterback pick, to tell you the truth. The only reason I faded it is because that contract not being done, he's going to take a lot more safe runs. If he goes out there and he gets hurt like he did last year, he's not going to have any leverage whatsoever. At the same time, he's not that great of I'm not going to say he's not that great of a passer. We've seen him have games where he can actually show out as an elite passer. So if he has opportunities today, he will take those. But if it comes down to winning and losing the game, and he's not hitting on his throws, then yeah, he will likely end up out of that pocket. So really like Lamar Jackson this week. So I'm actually going to go with Kyler Murray this week. I'm sticking with the whole theme of the highest projected point total of games, and that's what this Arizona Las Vegas game is looking like here. I wish I had the point total. I don't know if either one of you guys have the spreads up. If you can come back and give that here in a second, but they are the highest implied point total. Neither one of these defenses seem to be doing too well. I know that Vegas is, for one, they've been bad for the past couple of years, but two, last week during their game, they lost a couple of guys. So, I think Kyler Murray is really going to have a chance to really show out this week, and there'll be a little bit of a trend with that. On the opposite side, Andy is actually taking Derek Carr. I don't know if it's the same.
How much is Murray?
Kyler Murray is actually the top guy this week, so he's 7,500. And I don't know if Andy's theory on this is the same as mine, but I'm just going to play it out the same because I can't speak for him and his words. All we got is his lineup. So highest applied point total, Derek Carr on the other side was 6,200. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a pretty decent correlation there with his quarterback pick as well. Moving on over to running back, I did spend down slightly. I guess you can consider this spending down at the running back position without getting too dookie. Too much in the dookie with it. I went with Javonte Williams at 6,500. I think Denver and Houston is going to be a way different Denver team than what we saw last week. During the week when we did our rankings, me and Andy kind of mentioned this. Nathaniel Hackett, the whole decision to not allow Russell Wilson to try to win that game and allow his kicker to try to make a 64-yard field goal, that might have left some stank in the locker room. So I think this week that team's going to get out in the open a little bit more. They're going to open up that offense, let Russell Wilson do his thing. And Houston is a good team to do it against because there's not a lot of emotion flying. I think Javonte Williams will benefit from that a lot of receiving opportunities, a lot of rushing opportunities. 6,500 for him seems like a a steal, if you ask me. Now, I'm surprised that Andy went with this. The only thing I can think is that, like he said last week, ride him while you can because he probably won't be there in a few weeks. But he went with Christian McCaffrey at 8,900. That's a matchup against the Giants. I don't know if I'm willing to really test the Giants until I mean, look, I know it's the first week of the season, but shutting down Derrick Henry is a tall task. Just as much as it's hard to get going, it's hard to slow that man down. So, and one of the tackles I saw, I wish we could post it on here. I think I sent it to you guys. Somebody on that Giants defense laid Derrick Henry to the ground. And to me, if that same guy gets his head, arms, shoulders, hands, legs, anything on Christian McCaffrey, that could spell a few week injury. So I wouldn't necessarily go there. But if he stays on the field today, I think 8,900 might pay out. 8,200 was about what my limit was on him. So I think I said that last week. You won't see him any lower. So that's why it was worth it. El Jefe, running back. I feel like I just got done talking so much. Andy, I need you on the show next week. I can't do 2 lives. Who's your running back for this week?
I'm going with Chubb. I mean, he's so good, and Jacoby Brissett is not. And last week they rode him. He didn't get into the end zone, but they rode him. He had a great game. Look, this dude, he's a beast. And if they want to win, this is what they should have been doing last year, man. You got to turn Chubb into kind of a workhorse guy, man. He gets better as the game goes on. The more carries he gets, the stronger he gets. I don't know what happened last year and why they didn't feed him the ball when Baker wasn't playing well, but last week they did give him the ball, and he showed out. I think he's looking at 25 touches today. I think they're going to have to. And with that said, man, that's an easy 100-yard game, and I think he's the one that's going to get in the end zone this week. I know Hunt took all the glory last week with scoring touchdowns, but, I mean, Chubb's too good, and if the Browns want to be competitive until Mr. Watson comes back, they're just going to have to ride Chubb. They're going to have to. 7,100, I think that he's solid. He should produce with that amount of money. I think he's my guy this week. 71.
71, okay. Well, that being said, I'm going with my guy, man. Saquon Barkley. How amazing was that last week? It's, for a Giants fan, and I only got to watch it on Red Zone, but, man, they did pretty much what the Browns need to do with Chubb, man. Just keep feeding him the ball, and that's what the Giants did, man. And I hope he got his mojo back. It looks like he did. He's $7,300, but I think he had like 36 points last week. So, if he gets 2/3 of that, he's still getting you 24 to 25. So I'm going with Saquon, man. I don't know, man. I'm happy the Giants looked good last week. They won the game kind of like they won the Super Bowl against the Bills back in '91 because they missed the field goal. But still, man, a win's a win. We'll take it. Saquon looks good. Let's go.
Stay healthy.
Yeah, hey, the success that the Browns had last week against Carolina. I mean, Chubb had a game last week. Kareem Hunt had a game last week. So there's no reason to me that Saquon Barkley can't have a game this week. So I think it sets up for him to open up and really pay off some of those people who drafted him and some of those who will actually be spending up the money in DFS for him, pay him out real early dividends. I mean, as of right now, if you look at it, he's the still of the draft. I mean, this is a guy because of all the injuries who really dropped down. I mean, he was a second rounder, some cases third. I think in one he almost made it back to me in my fourth round wrap, and I was just like, oh, I'm sitting there like if I get him there, I don't mind. And of course, he got taken 2 picks before me. That's just how it happens. But
right.
Like, everybody else let him go too long. So, all right, so let's go ahead and bring it back around here. The wide receivers, the big names out on the field these days, because of people like McCaffrey. They don't want to pay running backs anymore, so it's all receivers these days. El Jefe, who you got at wide receiver this week?
Well, I'm going with what you touched on a little bit earlier, that this Detroit Lions offense is coming into its own, and they're scoring points. So I'm going with Mr. St. Brown. He's 6,500. He had 12 targets last week, which is more targets than he had in any game last year, and he showed out all the way down the second half. He had 8 catches, and he did score a touchdown, which is the 5th straight game in which he scored a touchdown. My main reason with going with him this week, though, is they're not sure DeAndre Swift is 100%. And if he's not 100%, that dynamic repertoire that he brings to the game is not going to be part of it, and they're going to have to throw the ball. And St. Brown has produced as well as any wide receiver one over the past half dozen games, and I don't see any reason why he doesn't today. He might have more targets than he had last week. So we're going to see. I'm going to ride him, man. Detroit, like you said, they're going to have to score points, and they have to throw the ball to score points this week.
Absolutely. I really do think that game's going to be a little bit more exciting. You know, we look at those exciting games as the ones that end up being high scoring for absolutely no reason that we never had any interest in before. And that's why fantasy football is so awesome, because the games that we used to consider the poop games, we now consider the solid games. So now it's just solid poop. But so, Warson Sense, who you got at wide receiver this week?
I'm going Cortland Sutton, $6,100. I think he was underused last week. I think Denver was embarrassed last week, but that whole game, it was just talked about. So I think they're going to have a big game today. I'm not sure, but I think they're home, should be home opener. But for 6,100, I really think Broncos might score above 35 points, and he's going to be a big part of it.
Do you know is he the highest receiver out there, the highest priced receiver out there, or Jerry Jeudy?
I think Judy's a little bit more.
Okay, I will be running some stacks in that game. I honestly don't think Russell can have a opener like that, or a game to start off the season like that.
Is Denver at home?
I believe they are at home. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He threw for a lot of yards. They didn't put it all together.
It was something with the play calling. Even those at the goal
game
line,
just felt fishy.
At the goal line, it was I don't understand the whole line up in the shotgun and run it, and of course Javonte and Melvin Gordon both fumbled. It was just a very odd setup. I was like,
that was some Browns type shit.
yeah. Then, like I said at the very end, I actually blame the NFL. If I'm Russell Wilson, I'm asking why they did this. I'm like I played this my entire career here. Not only do you guys put this game as the Monday night game, the very first Monday night game, but they didn't even do the duel. They're doing dual Monday night games this week. This is usually the first week of the season. So they made them front and center. And then they're in Seattle for his homecoming. He gets booed and everything else on national television. I'm sure the nerves got there a little bit. I bet this guy showed up to the stadium and started going to his old locker. Like, why was it Denver versus Seattle the first week of the season? That was. It's not even like it was a good matchup. Geno Smith over. Yeah, it was just disasters. But anyway, so Andy's wide receiver this week, like I said, there was some correlation at the quarterback position here, and it's Devontae Adams at 8,600. I love this pick, honestly, and I may have stayed away from it just because I didn't want to have the same picks as he did. I wish I would have got there first, but the stack is something I love in this game. That high point total, Derek Carr to Devontae Adams. You guys saw the target last week. Devontae Adams, is not going anywhere. He's not. Everyone was having this whole up in arms thing during the offseason, like, he's not going to be that good. He's not going to be that good. Nah, Devontae Adams is still going to be very.
I ran a lineup and stacked them as well.
Yeah, it's.
I'm not mad at that at all.
17 targets. He had half of Derek Carr's targets. That's sick.
Well, there you go.
Imagine more of the same going out throughout the rest of the season, man. That there's a reason they brought that guy there, and they're gonna continue to.
I'm gonna assume that's gonna be those two guys are gonna score him more than he got his entire last season or last week. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's highly possible. Actually,
Dude, I think one of them could
likely
do
than
that.
not. Yeah, 43. Yeah, 43.7. I'm pretty sure Devontae Adams might
They
be
each only need
close
22.
to that on his own. But yeah, so I'm staying with the same concept here. You know, I'm running a stack myself with Marquise Brown. Like I said, the high point total, and then you got to just look and see who's out on the other side. On the offense in Arizona. No Rondell Moore. Zach Ertz is banged up. Um, it's just they're struggling out there. So I really like Marquise Brown this week, especially against that defense. Like I said, the Raiders did lose some guys last week, and they already weren't that great of a defense, especially in the secondary. I expect Kyler Murray to really attack. And as a matter of fact, if you look at it, these are two quarterbacks who have their college wide receivers that they're throwing the ball to. So this is has a setting to be extremely exciting. So yeah, I'm running those stacks all across the board. Hopping over to tight end, if I do run a stack, I always like to bring it back with another player on the opposite team. Here, I'm going with Darren Waller. He's only 5,600 this week. Arizona does not and has not done well at stopping tight ends. Last week, it was nothing different. So I look for him to get involved this week. I think this is the high total for a reason. So both teams are going to be passing the ball a lot, making big plays. I think Darren Waller gets involved in that for 5,600. Don't really think you can beat it. Andy went a whole different direction with OJ Howard. Of course, he had to because he spent the 8,900 on CMC and 8,600 on Devontae Adams. So $3,000 for OJ Howard, but he did get in the end zone twice last week, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm guessing he's taking a shot on at least getting them in there one time. One touchdown and 10 yards pays for that 3,000, double for that 3,000. So I don't think it's a bad punt play. I'll probably have a couple lineups in this, maybe more GPP instead of cash games. But like I said, I think you have a shot regardless of which way you swing there on the competition, because this is obviously a guy they're going to be looking for when they get to that red zone area. Warson Sense, who you rolling with at tight end?
I'm playing it. I'm running it back. I'm doing Andrews again. I think he was underused last week, and I don't know. They played the Jets, so whenever you play the Jets, there are no rules. So this week, I think there will be some rules set, some standards set there, and Andrews just going to get a lot of dumpies and maybe a couple of big ones. Let's see. $6,400, man. He better do it, or I'm off this train. Push out.
So ain't no regrets when you're playing the Jets. That's the new. Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws. That's what it is.
Is that it? All right.
Yeah. El Jefe, who you ride with at your tight end position?
I mean, the 5,600 is could be the biggest steal of the week. I mean, Darren Waller, he had 79 yards last week on 4 catches. He was only targeted 6 times, and most of that was in the second half. And as far as Vegas goes, they can't keep throwing the ball to Devontae Adams 20 times a game. They can't. They're not going to win games if they do that. So I really feel like they're going to go out of their way to, as you said, get Waller involved early. You got to spread the ball around, and Derek Carr can do that. And Waller's the second best receiver on that team for sure. And 5,600, there's no reason why he doesn't have 10 targets this week. I just can't see it. So rolling with the best bet in my mind, Waller at 5,600.
Yeah, hey, it's not a bad play. Like, even if they do decide that they're gonna throw the ball to Devontae Adams 20-something times, like you said, Waller's game last week was still very formidable, and I expect a little bit more of the same. And if they somehow take away a few of those targets from Adams, then maybe he gets a little bit more. You might even see a Hunter Renfrow sighting. I think those days might be gone. Good luck for you though, Leo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, those are our picks this week for our core four. Let's go ahead and jump into our deep dives real quick. These are the ones that are stanky, and stanky. And, that's our thing. It's stanking it up, snowing it up, everything else. So, yeah, hey, I'll start with Andy's here. This one might be the stinkiest of them all. But let's see what happens with it. He went with Kadero Hodge at 3,200. I don't have anything to say about that pick. I'm just guessing that he looked at that range of players and was like, hey, I'm just going to take a crap roll on a name that I know. He is out on the course, the tee times got moved up. So maybe he just had to come up with one, and that's who he came up with. I don't have any basis for that. If I'm you guys, I probably wouldn't pick it. The moment I tell you that, you don't pick it, and he scores 40, and you look at me like I'm an idiot for telling you not to. Do what you want. I'm not taking Hodge. I am going with someone that's almost equally as stinky, but for a different reason. And he did have a lot of targets last week, and that's Logan Thomas. He's 3,400 for the Washington Commandos. I just like the Commando. Sounds pretty sweet. But
he's not wearing any panties.
Yeah, I'm not wearing any pants right now. I can't stand up during this show. So
no, panties.
So yeah, 3,400. I think he had like 6 or 7 targets last week. He only caught maybe 4 of them or so. Had a decent yardage total. This is a guy who gets hurt. So I guess no other real logic behind it. Besides he's obviously something that that Washington wants to get involved. Someone that Washington wants to get involved, and you might as well try to use them while you can. So if you got to spend down and you got to punt anywhere, I mean, you can honestly even swap this out for your tight end if you really wanted to. If you wanted to punt the position, I don't think it would be bad. So that's why I'm going with Logan Thomas here. Warson Sense, who's your deep dive this week? Make sure you put him in your lineup.
I did, and I will, but I did. Ashton Doolin, he's this guy from the Colts. Colts' 2 top receivers are both out, so he's going to be, if you're not the number 1 guy there this weekend, he's going to be the number 2. I think there is weather down in Jacksonville, so I don't know how much they're going to be throwing, but he'll get you. He's going to get you at least 12 this week. Oh, price $3,200.
Oh, is that Tyrion Davis price?
Ashton Doolin, $3,200.
Oh, you said price like that. Okay. I thought you were telling me that Tyrion Davis price was only 3,200. I was like, oh Lord, I am changing my pick. Never mind.
Heard of her.
Yeah, that's the guy that's gonna come out of that backfield in San Francisco. You guys just wait and see. El Jefe, go ahead and get a deep dive.
I'm sticking with your high-scoring game of the week, and look, there's still no D-Hop. You just said it. Rondell Moore is out. Look, Greg Dortch. He had 9 targets last week, 7 catches. I think he was right around 70 yards. I think he led the team in yards and catches, actually. I mean, Hollywood Brown is there, but I don't know, man. Murray and this Dortch kid seem to have got some kind of chemistry going, and I don't see any reason it stops in this game. I mean, he should have a similar number of targets, and anytime your deep dive can approach 10 targets, it should pay out. He's right at the top of our amount, but 3,500 for 10 targets with Kyler Murray, I think that could pay big.
Yeah, especially in that game. Like, I think that's actually a solid play. Somehow a guy that I forgot about, so I didn't really look at that, but I'll be making my lineups. I had a pretty eventful morning, so but she ended in some great news. Actually, I'll go with great news. So I'll be doing my lineups a little bit later here. That's why I'm doing this now. I'm in a league with the fantasy footballers on Sleeper, and you have to make all your pickup requests before noon. That happened last week, and I didn't pick up anyone to play in George Kittle's place, which put me in a position. But luckily, the rest of my team blew up, so I ended up not even having to worry about it. But yeah, I'm trying to not suffer that same fate right now, which moves me over to injuries. I'm just going to ramble off a couple that I was looking at. Rondell Moore out. That was decided early in the week. No one cares about Colt McCoy. Damian Williams is on injured reserve, so that puts likely scenarios out there for people like Tyler Algier. But of course, Cordell Patterson is the one that's leading that backfield. So
Mayo is out.
Yep. Actually, I just saw that too. Which, does anyone know what that's about?
He didn't practice at all this week. I read that a little bit earlier too, that he's out. What about Gabriel Davis?
Julio Jones is out.
And Russell Gage, Tampa Bay, is starting.
What about Gabriel Davis? He came up on the injury report Saturday, yesterday, talking about he might not play.
Let's see. I'm only at Baltimore right now, so I'm skipping through them because I think we know the guys who are out. He's in there. Buffalo actually next up. Gabe Davis is still questionable. He's questionable for Monday's contest. So unfortunately, that's a late one. So if you have him anywhere to make a decision before that, I probably wouldn't even.
I didn't start him last week
unless you have like Isaiah McKenzie or something or Crowder, then I probably would bench him this week and make a decision for somebody to play on Sunday. Bears, none of these guys are. T. Higgins is still questionable.
They said he's going to play. I heard he's going to
suit up. Yeah. Any Browns that are the name? No. This list is long. Dak Prescott obviously out. We all knew that. He's out for supposed to be
next
6
week.
or 8.
That's all I care about, baby. Let's go Giants.
Elijah Mitchell, he's out for quite a while.
They play Giants Dallas next Monday night, I think. If I remember, either the next week or the following.
DeAndre Swift expected to play.
They don't know if he's going to be a pitch count. He's scary.
Lazard.
Yeah, I picked the other running back for the Lions in a couple. Jamal Williams?
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of names. I can't remember all these names anymore.
Lazard expected to play. Yeah, like you guys mentioned, Pittman out, which that hurts him a lot. Alec Pierce was also out.
That's why I'm telling you, man. Ashton Doolin. Watch out for him today. Doolin, and it's fun to say, Doolin.
I like a lot of Jonathan Taylor, really. Kansas City, they already played.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor will go off today. But he's like $9,000, isn't he?
Oh, he's like $10,000. He's $9,900.
Can't afford you, son.
You don't even see that very often. You don't even see that.
I eat leftovers 4 times a week, man. I can't afford that guy.
Brandon Bolden is doubtful, so maybe no one will be taking touches away from. His name.
Dobbins is out. Did you say that? He's out too. Whatever.
Yeah, this is starting to get down in the realm of people who we don't necessarily worry about. Unfortunately, I don't care about too many people who are out on the Patriots right now. And Mark Ingram is actually listed as questionable.
They said he's going to go.
Jameis Winston is expected to play.
Yep. Mark Ingram would be a good pick today since Kamara's not playing.
Kadarius Toney expected to suit up.
Leonard Fournette and Mike Evans are supposed to play. Active.
Yeah, I don't care about the Steelers. George Kittle. George Kittle, actually, he had a great practice the other day, but he is not expected to suit up. So that's what I was looking for. That's awful. Yeah. So, did you get something saying that Julio Jones was out? Because it says still listed as questionable here.
Who?
Julio Jones.
Yeah, he's out.
He's out. Yeah, I'm going to stop reading these in because obviously you can't trust ESPN anymore.
Everybody, just watch your shit till 12:55.
Yeah. Just no one knows if they're in or out. No one.
Triple check it.
If ESPN doesn't know, who really knows? So, but that's it for our DFS pick. We're going to go ahead and slide on out of here. But before we do so, Brown season opener, man. This is it this week. I heard they got a lot of good things going on down there. I wish I could have made it down this week, but I only have 2 games so far I'm going to. I'll be going to a lot more later in the season. What do you guys think? What do you guys think the Browns are going to be able to take care of business, go 2-0? I couldn't even tell you when the last time they were 2-0.
Go Browns, go Giants. They're both going 2-0 today, baby. Let's go.
So there's going to be a lot of people downtown today. They're talking about 100,000 people for the game and the Indians.
So I got in and got out. It was packed up there already. It was honestly already packed up there. You could tell the people. I was like, I got to get in and get out, or I'll never make it back in time for this show.
Supposed to be a pretty nice day.
I know FedEx downtown route guy. He's not getting shit off today.
Yeah, it's rough. All right, so are we all going with the Browns? Browns going 2-0?
Yep. Everybody have fun. Be safe.
Ain't no regrets when you're playing the Jets. Let's go, everybody. So until next week, good luck on your lineups. Hopefully you make some money. We like to throw out the deuces, and we out.
Peace.